Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is iRunShib, or Shib for short. I appreciate you being here today. The goal of this video is to teach you how to create a good skill build in Lost Ark. There is a multitude of skills per class, an insane amount, and then there's tripods, which can then customize those skills throughout the game, and it is so difficult to understand what is best for you. But I'm going to teach you how to find the correct path for yourself or identify the skills that work best for your flow, for your playstyle, etc. I apologize for not uploading this week. I had a full guide on how to get gold in this game and how to best get gold in the current state of the game. But a new patch came in, and I believe this new patch will actually potentially be assimilated into the Western release on release. It simplifies how to upgrade in the game. It changes how gold is utilized and where you obtain gold. So the video that I would have put out would have been false information. So I wanted to make sure I scrapped that video. So we'll talk about all those changes in a future video, but I believe that these changes are very positive for the game, and all you really need to know is that upgrading gear is a lot simpler now, and gold is less prevalent in terms of what you can use it for, what you need it for. All right, so you jump on in the game and you're trying to figure out what skills are good for you. So you're going to go through your skill list. You see an infinite amount. We talk about this on the skill video. There is an insane amount. You obtain skills every couple levels while you're grinding through the story. And then when you hit 50, you obtain another skill and your quote unquote ultimate or awakening skill. Each one of these skills also has a multitude of passive or buffs that ultimately completely change the skill. But I don't want to dive into that too much because we talk about that in the skill video. But how do you know which ones are good? Right? So the first thing I would do, and this is probably, and it is in fact, the best way to test skills, test builds, test everything, right? Is you're going to go and play music, go to Treason. She's how you pick your subclass, etc. You're going to go back to that region because if you talk to her again, you are able to open up a training room. So I'll talk to her. I'll go to the training room. Yes, this has a DPS timer. This has the chance to look at multiple different engravings. You can play as your current selected character in terms of what you already have built, or you can go to modified and you can include any engravings that you want. You can max out and you can see what you really want to gun for. You can summon any monsters, and you can also start a DPS timer to really test out what's best for you. You can summon, like I said, any monster and just get practicing, finding out what skills are important, what flows, where do you want to put them on your skill bar. This is stuff that I think is super important. I think it's gorgeous. It's something the game really needed. It's a relatively new addition to Lost Ark, and I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be out on NA release. This is something that is crucial to understanding your build, and I think this is the first place you should go after having a rough understanding of what skills you want to use. I'd like to say you'll have a decent understanding of what skills you like as you play through the story. You'll only really be missing your ultimate and a final ability, which typically is always going to be integrated into your build. The last ability you get at 50 is always super strong, or at least that's from my experience of playing, you know, on a multitude of different classes. But there's also another. I'd say it's sometimes important if you're bored or hanging out at home to just go to a website and get an understanding of what builds people like to use. I have a website here that I'll be putting in the description below called Lost Ark Codex. This is just a website I've used in the past. There might be better websites, and if so, please put them in the comments below and I'll make sure to pin them or thumbs them up. This is something I've been using. Granted, this is a completely open guide, so people can put in different builds just as they see fit, just literally trying to build them and taking their best guess or something they like to use. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the optimal way, but it's a foot in the door, getting a rough understanding of stuff you like and what skill builds you want to use. Like I said, it's got a bunch of other information on here, but skill builds are super important. You can pick whatever class you want and then ultimately look at the builds. And like I said, just to start off your build. So as you can see here, I've got all the classes up on the top. I'm able to pick any one of them and then look at various builds, and it'll show me if it's a PvP, a PvE build, maybe a combination build, and how many views and ratings it's got. It's definitely something to start off with. I think it's pretty important before you dive into that training room or before you really try to fine tune it for your own play style. I'll minimize my screen here a little bit just to show you. For example, you can see a maximum DPS for a Berserker build. You're going to click into that and I'll say, oh, these are the tripods and the skills I've used. You know, feel free to try this out. And we've also got these runes. Runes are something we haven't talked about yet, but they're ultimately just additions to the skill. I might say like it'll roll, you know, the cooldown will be faster, it'll do more damage, it'll have more CC, etc. So that is a good place to start in terms of understanding your build. The final way I think you should be looking at builds is, specifically if you want to tailor your build towards PvP, is to look at other people's builds while you're PvPing. So as you're playing PvP and you go into the Coliseum, obviously we talk about the modes in our PvP intro video. Typically the modes people like to play is Team Deathmatch. That's where the ranked is too. There's also large scale team fighting. and these free-for-alls and 1v1 team battles where you tag each other out when somebody dies and you fight the next person where your current health is at. While you're playing these modes, you're able to see what people are using by just seeing how and what they use against you. But you also, in modes like Team Death or Last Team Standing, you can see their skills in the top of the screen that they're actually using and what order they're using and what combinations they're using. That stuff is stuff you need to keep your eyes on as you're trying to fine-tune your build in PvP and just test out the abilities that they're using. For the most part, that's all I really wanted to get across today, just to kind of give you guys an understanding and not have you stress too much about the builds when you're first starting out. You can reset your build at any time and constantly change it and have a multitude of different tabs in which you can just click a button, your whole skill build will change. I think that this game does skills perfectly. I love the customization. I love how every single person that plays the game has a different build and makes their build feel unique. That all being said, I appreciate you guys being here. If you like my content, I would really appreciate a sub here. Any of my socials linked below. I stream on Twitch all the time. Thanks for being here, and I love you guys.